Globe 50 years ago.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to People of Interest. People of Interest is a show with stories from people like me and you. Today, I have a very special guest. His name is Gary Rivers. We're just talking a little bit about him. He has a lot of stories that he's going to share with us. Gary, thank you for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, you were just telling me about a dinner that you went to in Italy,
Yeah, we went. It was for the Kennedy Club,
the Kennedy Club. Now, this is
and
back in
19.
1965.
Actually, it was 1967, 68, somewhere in
Okay.
that area.
Yeah.
And I got invited to the Kennedy Club, and I didn't know I was going to be the guest of honor because I was from Massachusetts,
Yeah.
which is kind of really funny. So I'm sitting at the main table, and so they're starting to serve the food and everything. They said, "Would you like some wine?" I said, "Sure." He said, "You want it white or red?" I said, "Red." So I had a glass of red wine. I took a little sip because I was a little thirsty. Put the glass down. Somebody comes over, fills my glass. I said, not used to that. So I took another little sip because it was full,
Yeah.
put it down. Guy comes over, fills my glass. And so finally I asked somebody, I says, "Why do they keep filling my glass?" "Because you're drinking." I says, "Well, if I don't drink, they won't fill it again?" "That's right." I said, "Oh, that's odd." I said, "But that's okay."
Yeah.
It was really, really nice. The people were really, really, I didn't speak Italian at that time.
Yeah.
I spoke a little bit, not very, very much. And I never was good at speaking any language, really.
Mm.
I knew a lot of words. Matter of fact, one of the things while I was there, I won a trip to Germany.
Yeah.
I was a ping pong champion. I was second in Italy.
You were a ping pong champion?
Yes, second in Italy.
That's
This is in
pretty.
the military.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
all military people.
yeah.
So, and I had broke my neck at that time because this was
Oh.
like in '66.
Oh, okay.
So I had a neck brace on.
Yeah.
I played. I had already beaten the guy that was the champion
With the neck brace?
with the neck brace. I had already beaten him before
Yeah.
that neck brace,
Oh, before the
but
neck
afterwards I didn't beat him. He beat me.
Yeah.
So that's why I came in second.
Yeah.
And he was really, really good. He's the one that got me interested in it.
Huh.
So then we went over to Italy. I mean Germany, excuse me, and Rhine-Main Air Force Base, and we played ping pong there. And there was two players from each country around us, and you had to play playoffs. So I ended up eighth in Italy, eighth in Europe. All right, and it was because I beat the two guys from Turkey,
Yeah.
and so and then the next guy beat me because then he realized I didn't have any backhand because of the brace. I
Oh.
couldn't reach over. So it was
So
really.
you still wearing the brace now. You broke your neck. How do you tell me? How did you break your neck? You
I
can
was
do it
in
again.
a weightlifting competition.
Mm.
All right, but I was getting ready for it, and I was doing. I was lifting between. I started at 330 pounds. I was up to 400 pounds at that time. I've always worked out all my life, and this one that I was lifting, all of a sudden, the bar bent. Well, this is an Olympic bar. It's not
Does it
supposed
bend?
to.
It's
It's
pretty
not
heavy.
supposed to bend.
Yeah.
Because I had 330 pounds and it never bent. 400 pounds on, for some reason or other, it bent, and snapped my seventh vertebrae. So
And you put it down.
no, I stood up with it,
You stood up.
still,
Yeah.
and put it on the rack.
Okay.
All right, and all of a sudden I couldn't move my arms after
That
that.
hurt a little bit.
Yeah, it was painful, but I mean I couldn't move my arms at all, and I
Right.
said, wow, this is kind of odd.
Yeah.
So what the military did at that time, we were moving from barracks to a hotel,
Yeah.
and so they were going to put me in charge of one floor in the hotel. Because we took the whole hotel, and it was interesting. It was really, really good.
So This was Vietnam, with the Vietnam War, right?
during the Vietnam War.
So
Yes.
you were in Italy. Is that like
Yes.
kind of like training or something, or what was happening in Italy?
Well, that was where the base was in case there was
Oh, okay.
some kind of a problem over in Vietnam. We could fly over and take care of whatever needed to be taken care of. And this special bomb damage repair team, and I mean, it was a good team. We were the fastest in the world. 45 minutes to create a bomb.
Created a bomb.
Yeah. That's where they lay the planks one over another. You have to get them. Remember, you've got a hole in front of you.
Yeah.
So you got to get this over. Their planks are about 6 feet long. They come in a casket, believe it or not.
So this is when planes are landing anywhere. You like
B-52s.
or B-52s. So you have to be ready with those planks.
Right away because
they
that plane can only stay up for so long.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting. But we used to work on it every month. Our timing, how well we did it, because you had to lock them in. And
planks.
yeah, there was 2 guys that carried each plank, and we go back. I mean, they use a forklift, but you put them in place, and then it locks in, and then the B-52 could land down.
What's
and
because there were holes in the ground or something, or what was it?
where the bomb went off,
Yeah. Okay.
and they would bomb a runway over in Vietnam.
Oh.
Yeah, it was another Air Force base.
Oh, okay. And so then they had to land there too.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
It was kind of interesting. But it was that part of it wasn't fun. But we had a really good team. We were really lucky.
You still have friends from the time, back in the day? From there, or?
Funniest part was not one of the guys who was on the bomb damage repair team, but he was from Milford,
Yeah.
Morelli, and his 2 uncles used to own a restaurant in Milford.
Yeah.
And I was with him. He was in civil engineering, but he was in a different shop. I was in the pavement maintenance area
Yeah.
because we took care of runways and things like that,
Hmm.
and some housing too.
So how did you decide? Like you said, you worked all your life. You worked out all your life. When did you decide? Like this is what I'm gonna do.
14.
14. Why 14? Were you like the kid in that picture with Charles Atlas that was in the beach and they were kicking sand on his face? Or?
It's funny because they used to have the Child Atlas.
Yeah, yeah. The thing
Advertisement.
that they send you, yeah.
Yeah,
You can-
and it was fun.
Yeah.
But I started doing weights. I started doing push-ups.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, the most I ever lifted at that time was 110 pounds.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, one time I even hurt my shoulder because my father had built a house in Sutton,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing weightlifting, and I caught one of the girders that's down, and I hit
Oh.
it, and it dropped off my shoulder, so I couldn't lift it. But that's where we had the ping pong table when I was growing up,
Yeah.
downstairs.
And that's where you learned to play ping pong?
Yeah. Well, my mother beat me.
Your mother.
So did my father. But afterwards, I beat everybody. And
So you grew up in Sutton?
I grew up I grew up in Worcester until I was 9 years old.
Weston.
Worcester,
Oh, Worcester. Oh, okay.
Worcester, which isn't that far away.
Yeah, yeah.
And matter of fact, it was right near where I told you my father worked, and where I worked actually at one time was Crompton Knowles Corporation.
Yeah, now what did they do again? You said
They did looms.
looms. Okay.
Yeah, they even had a place where I worked was Pinsetter Engineering. They
Yeah.
used to do bowling alleys.
Bowling alleys.
Yeah, the pin settings. part of
Really?
it, yeah, and they had rubber duck pins, which were
Yeah.
big in Nova Scotia,
Yeah, what do those look like?
like a regular pin, but only a little.
The round ones?
Yeah, they're long,
Yeah.
but they had a rubber bushing around the middle. It would give you a lot of action,
Huh.
so it was interesting.
So the looms, though, that must have been because I know there's a lot of mills in the area. Were these looms for textiles somewhere?
Exactly
Yeah.
what they were for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what some of the mills must have been running at the time, then. Huh?
there were a lot of mills. As a matter of fact, Crompton Knowles ended up moving south.
Hmm.
So I was out of a job.
Oh.
So, but I'd already gone into the military
Oh,
in 1965 in the Air Force. I
Yeah.
spent years in Texas.
Texas too?
I was in Texas for 2 years,
Huh.
and I was in San Antonio and Wichita Falls.
And then you came to Massachusetts. Why didn't you stay in Texas? Nice and warm over there, isn't
It was nice and warm.
it? Not now, but
Matter of fact, I used to run an air conditioner in
is that right?
my barracks in January because it still could be up there in
Texas.
temperature.
Really?
Not this year though.
No, I guess not.
No.
Bad luck this year.
So
But,
it was interesting.
Let's go back a little bit and talk about your family. You grew up. How many brothers and sisters do you have?
One brother,
One brother.
he lives in town.
Yeah.
He lives over at across from the China Pacific in the mill apartments there.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, the Longwood Mill.
it was.
It's called the Longwood Mill, right? The Longwood.
Was
Mill.
it?
Yeah.
See, I don't know what the name of it was.
I think it's a Longwood Mill. Yeah.
But it was right across from the China Pacific and the car wash.
Yeah, they have the liquor store there, and then
Yep.
they have that's the Longwood Mill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They fixed that up.
He
pretty
just
good.
turned 79.
Yeah. Is he work out too, or is he kind of like doesn't work out?
Uh,
Lazy kind
well,
of.
he did. Before he moved there, he lived in Arizona. So he moved back from Arizona after being out there 12 or 14 years. And he had had both knees replaced.
Ooh.
So it was time to.
So why are you guys coming from warm places to Massachusetts? Why would you want to come here? If it's
My
like-
wife likes Massachusetts.
Oh, is she from
She lived in
Massachusetts?
Florida for a while, so, you know.
Oh,
No,
again,
no, she didn't like the heat.
she doesn't like the heat.
No.
How did you meet your wife?
Actually, in college, after I got out of the military,
Yeah.
I met her when I was going to Andover Institute of Business in Worcester
Yeah.
again.
Mm-hmm.
And we hit it off right from the get-go. Matter of fact, I think I went out with her for 120 days in a row.
120.
I remember.
That sounds like a lot of money.
No,
Did you spend every time
no,
something?
I didn't have a lot of money.
So when you went out, you didn't necessarily go out to eat or anything. You just went for a walk or something.
Sometimes we did.
Sometimes you did, but not
go for
every-
hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate.
And you're going to remember, we're going to be married 50 years in
Yeah.
May.
50 years. You're celebrating your 50th anniversary.
Yes,
Wow.
we eloped 50 years ago.
You eloped
50 years ago.
50 years ago?
Yes.
Did you get in trouble? Or her
No,
parents? Or
no.
She said, we're going to get married.
Got married. I proposed right away.
Yeah.
And actually, we have one daughter,
Yeah.
and Randy.
How's she doing?
She's doing very well.
Yeah.
She's an amazing young lady.
Mm.
Sometimes she doesn't think she is, but her mother and her father think she is.
Oh.
You know, she's very smart.
Yeah. Well, that's good. What does she do?
She works for National Grid.
Oh, in town?
She's
another
actually in Worcester.
Oh, okay.
Right? She started out in Northborough, and now she's in Worcester. When the pandemic hit, they had to change things around. So
Yeah.
she got to come to Worcester, and she likes Worcester,
Yeah.
you know, as far as there.
So why did your wife make you wait 120 days before? I mean,
Well, she was living at a home for girls
Yeah.
because she was going to school, so it was only she could walk over to where the school was from there.
yeah, which is where you were.
Right, I was
Right.
going there, but I was living in town. I mean, I was living in Sutton at that time.
Oh, okay.
But no, things went well, and we decided to get married. And as a matter of fact, I remember the justice of the peace was 6'4".
Yeah.
And actually, I think no, I'm sorry, his wife was 6'4".
Yeah.
He was a little bit taller,
Yeah.
and we had my sister-in-law, who just passed away recently,
Oh.
with us at that time, and
Why was that important? Because you just stood up high and you couldn't really tall. Why is that significant that he was?
it was
It's a memory.
Thomas J. Donahue. He was in Worcester.
Yeah.
A lot of things happen in Worcester,
Yeah. That's
know.
good.
so it was really funny. But
My daughter lives in Worcester.
oh, did she?
Yeah. She lives in Worcester presently.
Oh, okay. So yeah. You got 3 daughters.
3 daughters. Yeah. The older one lives in Worcester. So when you met your wife, you said what was the thing that you said, yeah, this is the girl for me? Or what were the things?
What was the thing?
Yeah,
We hit it off right away. I mean,
yeah,
she was very, very nice. She still is very nice, and she's
yeah.
very kind to people. And my daughter's the same way, and it's just amazing. Uh,
Are you opposites in any way, or?
I like sports.
Yeah, she doesn't like sports.
Well, she's not athletically inclined, but she walks every day.
Yeah.
She walked today. She walks about 3 miles,
Okay.
and she likes to walk, and she doesn't like the exercise bike as well as she likes that.
And your parents, how when you were growing up with your brother, how was that with your parents?
It was good, and my brother went in the Navy
Yeah.
when he's 3 years older than I am.
Yeah.
So he was away he went in for he wasn't in for 6 years, 4 years I believe he was in.
Yeah.
And he was in Cuba.
So you were living at your parents'
In
house,
Sutton, yes.
or like an only son kind of deal?
Yeah. And matter of fact, my father worked the same place I worked, Crompton Knowles Corporation.
Yeah. Hmm.
He was there for, I think it was 42 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting. We knew a lot of people in Crompton Knowles.
42 years. That's like it's unheard of these days. Working in a
Well,
place like that.
my father, my wife just retired from her company after 40 years, 3 months.
Wow.
They let her go in September 30th. Boom. Because she wanted to work until she was 70.
Yeah.
So she's only 68.
And they said no.
No, they were cutting back
Oh.
because
okay.
things weren't, the economy because of the pandemic has
Yeah.
really been tough on a lot of people.
So what do you think of this situation with the pandemic? What have you seen in your life in the past that's anything like it?
I've never seen anything like it,
Yeah.
really. I mean, I've never been in the pandemic before that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
I had trouble with the flu one year, and ever since then, that was going back a lot of years.
Yeah.
I've always had all my shots and everything to make sure that I stay healthy, whether it be pneumonia or the flu shot. So I always get them, and I don't wait until it's October to get a flu shot.
Right.
Because they used to say, "Oh, you don't have to get a flu shot until October." Well, the first time I got sick, it was before October, and I had the flu, and I got very, very sick. I was out of work for 3 weeks.
Wow.
And that was no fun. So I just said, hey, I've got to stay
Yeah.
where I can work out all the time.
What were some of the talk about happier times? What were some of the happier times in your life?
Well, up until 67 years old, I could still do a full split.
Yeah. Like with your legs?
Yes.
Wow.
And then I had back surgery.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, what's funny is I was working out that day. I was on an air climber,
Yeah.
and I did 7 miles in 45 minutes, and I did 1,000 sit-ups that day.
1,000 sit-ups?
Yeah, I used to do up to 1,600 at one time.
Wow.
But I've really gone down. I do 300 now, once in a while.
300 sit-ups.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do 300 sit-ups right now.
Well, I used to do a lot of stretching.
Oh.
When I was in martial arts, I used to do 30 different stretches.
Oh, so you did karate or
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
Is that
Kempo.
fun? Kempo?
Yeah. I'll tell you, it saved me a lot of times. I've had a number of operations, 3-foot operations.
Yeah.
And after I had 1-foot operation, the doctor said, you won't have more than 45% flexibility
Yeah.
with the foot. And I said, really? And I used to kneel down and go all the way back,
Yeah.
flat on the floor.
Right.
But I couldn't do it right away. After I had the surgery,
Yeah.
I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And I got to 97% that I could go. And then I still was doing the splits at that time. So
So the doctor didn't know what he was talking about.
he said, I didn't realize you were so flexible.
Are you a doctor kind of person? Do you like going to the doctors or?
Not necessarily.
No.
No, as a matter of fact, I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, but
Oh,
that's another thing. But no, I just like to stay healthy.
yeah.
My wife's the same way, and so is my daughter. You
We
know.
were talking about arthritis earlier, and you said you were going to tell me something that you can do for arthritis, other than because I was getting cortisone shots. I was telling you,
Oh,
and the doctor
well, I
said
said PT,
PT.
physical therapy. Erin
Yeah.
over at Milford Regional in Whitensville.
When you do
She was
PT,
excellent.
when they do that, do they hurt you?
No,
No.
no. Well, their idea is not to hurt you, is to get you back so
Right,
you
but
can
if
do
they're like
things
moving
normally.
your stuff,
Yeah,
you know.
they move it. I mean, when it gets to the pain, they stop or whatever.
Really?
It's the different exercises, or they massage. The girl that massaged my neck area and everything else, she worked that for 3 or 4 days. And it's the first time it was ever that short a period of time, and everything was fine. Matter of
Hmm.
fact, I was having pains in my hands. Remember
Yeah.
I told you I have arthritis?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, I can close both hands. At one time, I couldn't close both hands.
Hmm.
All right. And I had pain in my wrist, and it was going up my arm. And after I went to Erin over here at, the regional PT,
Yeah.
it's been 3 years since she worked on me.
So they know what they're doing over there.
They really know what they were. I mean, she's not the only one. There's others over there that are very, very, very good. I've gone over there a few times for different things.
I have to figure out to make an appointment and see if my health plan covers it too, though, before I go. You know, that's another thing I'm looking into. So.
But you find places that they know what they're doing, and you go there. I went back to my back surgeon, and he's 80-something years old. He doesn't operate anymore, so he wasn't going to be able to operate on me.
Yeah.
But he said, maybe I can help you out, and I can figure out what's wrong. They did all kinds of x-rays. They did MRIs.
Yeah.
He said, you do have nuts, what do you call them? Little chips in your neck or whatever that are getting in your way or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't have it that time. It was fine.
And the physical therapy helped that too?
It really did.
Huh.
Really did. I mean, I still do stretches. The thing is, after I had the back surgery, I lost the feeling in this leg because it damaged the nerve.
Yeah.
I had 2 ruptured discs in my back,
Mm.
and but
So what do you do when you have spare time to do nothing? What do you do to entertain yourself?
take my wife out.
You want her to hear that?
Sure, that's fine. No, we enjoy
Yeah.
each other's company. I mean, that's one of the things why we've been married for 50 years.
Yeah.
We enjoy being with each other. As a
So-
matter of fact, she was waiting to get retired. She was with that company for 40 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that one company. She was with the original company too.
Yeah.
And then they got bought out. But the thing is, we spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
We enjoy our company, but we do like to go out to eat.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we used to keep track of all the anniversaries of where we went to eat
Yeah.
all the time. Matter of fact, one of our favorites at the time was the Castle Restaurant in Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to give a woman a rose. I don't know, they used to grow their own roses,
Oh.
and they'd give a rose. So for our 12th anniversary, she got 13 roses. One that they give to every woman, and then they gave her a
Oh,
dozen
is that right?
for the other 12 years.
So if you go there again, it's going to be 50 roses.
I don't think they'd give us 50 roses,
No.
but nah,
Are they still open?
as far as I know, they are.
The Castle, what is it called again?
Castle Restaurant.
Castle Restaurant.
Never been there?
In Worcester?
Leicester,
Leicester.
beyond Worcester.
It's the same as
Route 9.
Leicester, but it's called Leicester?
Leicester.
Okay. Leicester, right?
Right on the button.
Okay, because they do this thing with, instead of Worcester, they say Worcester.
A lot of places say Worcester. When I lived in Texas,
Yeah,
they said, where is that in Texas? Worcester.
yeah,
I said, it isn't in Worcester, it's in Massachusetts.
yeah.
It was really funny.
So you pretty much a Massachusetts person. You kind of grew up here most of your
Yeah,
life.
but before this pandemic hit, we used to go off to New Hampshire,
Yeah.
go to Maine, go to Vermont, uh, especially we go to Newport a lot,
Newport.
which is fine,
Yeah.
because we really like it down there.
You like the mansions? They have the mansions. We have one of the mansions
Yeah, we've
over
been
there.
to we've been to all the mansions.
That's like amazing. I mean, I've been to a couple of them, and I remember going there, and in one of the doors, I was looking at one of the hinges on the door, because the hinges themselves were so elaborate. The work that they put on the hinges. Never mind the rest of the house.
Some of the doors over there are huge.
And the doors too, yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, I want to ask you something. I'll go back a little bit in
Sure.
time, because you probably have a lot of stories, but I'm sure you do. You have, I was talking to you earlier, I realized you. So we're going to narrow down to a story of a time in your life when you had one of the most challenging times you ever had. So want you to go back and start thinking of that time when you had something that was almost like uncharted waters for you this time. It was so challenging, but yet you moved through the challenge and then you came out of it. So I want you to, if you can share with me what that challenge was, how you went through or walked through that valley that you had to walk through, and how did you come out on the other end, and what did you learn?
Wow.
Only pick one. I'm sure you have like 20 or 30. So
Well,
I'm just kidding. So go ahead.
no. The broken neck was tough
Mm-hmm.
because I used to have to sleep with my head over the end of the bed, and it was a metal frame,
Mm-hmm.
and that was very, very tough. And I didn't think I was actually going to come back from that, and I didn't. I could have gotten out of the military then, but I didn't. I stayed in the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, because they took me out of the barracks, put me in a hotel, made it better. But once I got back, I started exercising again.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise has always brought me back. The martial arts was really good. It helped me come back a number of times
Mm-hmm.
because the stretches, the exercises, and everything else always helped me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do everything that I could do the first time, but I just keep working at it till I got it.
Mm.
And the other thing is, I have a great family behind me.
Mm.
So my wife and daughter are very, very, very good. I love both of them very much. Matter of fact, one of the rules we have,
Mm-hmm.
we have to hug every day.
Really?
Every day.
Who made that rule?
Me. That's the only rule I've got in the house. That's
a
it.
great rule. I like that rule.
It's not really a rule.
I mean, that's a great whatever you want to call it.
It's really good. I
Great
mean,
principle.
people need hugs. People need to hug,
Yeah.
I'll tell you the story real fast.
No, take your time.
All right, I'll take my time
You
with
don't
it.
have to be fast. We got time.
When I worked for, what was it? Supermarket chain, not Big D. I worked for Big D at one time,
Yeah.
but Edwards, and this guy that I knew from when I was with Big D, he came in one day and he says, my wife just had two baby boys, twins. And I said, really? He says, yeah. And one of them's not doing very well. I said, really? He says, that's sad. I mean, So he came in the next day. He says, you know what they did? This nurse had an idea. He says, we're going to put both babies in the same crib.
Mm.
So they did. And one baby put his arm over the other baby, like a hug,
Mm-hmm.
and he started getting better. So they left him in, yeah. And now the one that was sick and wasn't eating and everything, he's actually the biggest of the two.
Is that right?
And it worked. So I used to tell people, if you ever need a hug, I'll give you a hug. And they said, really? I said, yeah. So this one lady says, I'd have to ask my husband if I could hug you. I says, that's fine. I says, I never force a hug on anybody.
Mm.
I says, my thing is, if you need a hug, you might need a hug. She came in one day and she said to me, she says, I need that hug.
Mm.
She was going through a tough time.
Mm.
So I had an Aunt Delia when I was a kid, and she would give you a bone-crushing hug.
Aunt Delia, was it?
Aunt Delia.
Aunt Delia, that was her name?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned to hug.
Oh.
But then my whole family hugged after that. And we hugged all the way through, and I took it and right into my own family,
Hmm.
and it's good.
So every day you get a hug from your wife and your daughter.
At least one.
At least.
At least. I would say more like 3 hugs a day.
Hmm. That's good.
I'll tell you, it's great. We hug in the morning.
Yeah.
We hug at night before we go to bed.
That's beautiful.
You know?
That's kind of what makes it so hard with this pandemic. People have to be
So far away.
far away.
6 feet.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, one of the best places in town, the tea house over here on Church Street, 75 Church Street. We used to, my wife and I, my daughter, we used to go there. We still drink their tea. And we used to love to go there. The people there were really, really nice.
Yeah.
We used to play Scrabble over there.
The little tea house at
That little tea house, 70,
that's in
number
Church Street,
75,
yeah.
right down from your wife.
Yeah, so she's like, she hasn't opened yet, right?
She does, what do you call it? She does mail order.
Yeah.
So she still has something.
But the shop is like, you can't go in the shop, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that was sad. I mean, all these other places. I mean, my wife won't even go to a restaurant right now.
Hmm.
You know, we've been in a couple of restaurants, but you have to be very, very cautious of what's going on.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have your shot, your second shot, right? And then,
And so will the girls. They just had their first shot yesterday,
yeah.
and now they'll have their second shot by March 30th. I'll have mine March 11th. Matter of fact, I have guys that I go out for breakfast with once a month,
Yeah.
you know, and it seems like it's down to 3 of us right now. We used to have 10 at one time.
Yeah.
And I kind of miss that because we would go to Puffham's in Millbury. Have you been there?
Nope.
By there?
Nope.
Okay. And it was really good. We go and we have breakfast. We're there for an hour and a half, possibly 2 hours, not any more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Where are these friends from?
school,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
One guy's Jimmy Johnson, the other one's Eddie Anderson. Eddie used to live across the street from where I was in Sutton. Jimmy now lives down the road from where we are, right there on Uxbridge, down further Uxbridge Road.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really nice guys, and we're all about Jimmy's the oldest. Even though he's the same age as I am, he's 76.
Yeah.
Eddie's 75.
He's the oldest, even
You
though
know,
he's the same age as
But
you.
one of the guys that kind of started it was Perry King. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he was a very, very good friend. Matter of fact, his mother gave me my first job.
Really?
Yeah, weeding strawberry patches. I wasn't very good at it.
No.
I didn't last very long.
No.
It was really funny. Martina King, she was an amazing woman. She was really, really good.
Mm.
So it just, there's a lot of good people out there.
Yeah, I think so. You wouldn't think so by watching the news.
No, no, we won't talk politics, right?
No.
No,
Unless
good.
you want to.
No. No.
No, but the thing with the news is that the news is usually bad news. So you think the world is falling apart if you turn the TV
Yeah.
on and watch the news. And actually, there's a lot of people out there that are enjoying themselves and enjoying life. And, you know,
Well, I think there's too much violence.
there's violence on the news, yeah.
Yes, everywhere. And boy, lately it's been a lot of fires. Everywhere.
Yeah?
Worcester,
Oh, is that right?
Salem.
I guess I should watch more news.
Well, I have to say we watch news. I get up early every morning. I'm usually up at between 4 and 5,
Yeah.
and I don't work out at that time though.
No?
I don't work out until like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And but my daughter at least work early in the morning. She used to leave at 7. Now she leaves at 6 to be in for 7. So it's pretty early,
Yeah.
you know, but now she gets out early. She gets out at 4, so that makes it easier for her.
So that's when you start watching the news?
Usually 4:30. Well, we watch Channel 4, so it doesn't come on until 4:30,
Yeah.
and we always watch the weather. Because the other day, remember when they had the ice and everything?
Yeah, well, they had all kinds of stuff lately.
Yeah, well, that means my daughter's got to work a lot of hours,
Oh.
sometimes 12, 16-hour
National
shifts,
Grid, right.
you know. But she had to get her shot yesterday because she already had the appointment,
Oh, okay.
you know, so. But it's nice. My wife doesn't have to work anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she'll go out for a walk. I mean, we used to walk together. But I've been doing the exercise bike instead because I can do more. And,
Doesn't she want to go out and walk?
oh, she
Anymore?
still goes out to walk.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
don't you go out and walk with her?
I will when it gets warmer.
Oh.
Well, the thing I'm worried about is any ice or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I can feel, the feeling in this leg has come back.
Yeah.
But if I slip, that could be, you know, at this age.
What was one of the most changing subject, like very radically, but what would you say is one of the most important things that somebody ever told you that you held on to and says, "Oh, that's a good piece of advice. I'm gonna make that an important part of how I conduct the rest of my existence in this world."
Be nice to people.
Who told you that?
My father and mother have been that way all their life, you know.
Yeah.
Just, but I'll tell you,
Hmm.
you know, don't argue with people. You know,
Yeah.
my daughter doesn't argue with people. You know, she's got a tough job. Believe it or not, customer service is a tough job.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you're dealing with people all the time.
And my wife she was a sales manager for a corporation, and she used to deal with Israel, the United States, and she was on the phone all the time, you know, on computer all day, and she used to work a 10-hour day. So it was, you know, you hope you're dealing with people that are nice. Not everybody's nice, unfortunately. But I always try to be good to people. I always try to be nice to people. I mean, your wife is very, very nice. She really is. We
She
enjoy.
is.
We enjoy going there.
She's much nicer than I am.
I don't know. I don't know. I can see why she's so nice.
No, she's very, Christine is very sweet. Very sweet.
That's exactly a good word for your wife. She
Yeah.
is a sweet person.
She is. But we still, here and there, we argue, you know.
Really?
Even though she's sweet. Oh, yeah. I'm sure everybody at some point or another.
I mean, I'm sure my wife and I argue every once in a while, but
Yeah.
I never win anyway.
But that's not the rule. You know, especially as I get older, I realize that's a waste of time,
It really is.
you know. And time gets shorter all the time.
I mean, my wife and I had a very nice day. You know, we went to like Walgreens to pick up her prescriptions, and then she picked up something else there, and then we went to eat at Bushel and Peck,
Yeah.
and we eat at the Common because we don't eat inside the building, you know, and played a few scratch tickets, you know. So it's fun, you know. I mean, we used to do more before the pandemic. I mean, we would go somewhere or whatever. I mean, I used to take my wife out to eat all the time. You know, even when I was a banker before I retired
Huh.
for Citizens Bank. And if I had a day off, I would go over there and take her out
Oh, that's nice.
every day. You know, and I did that for a good number of years.
So it should end somewhat. Do you think that this whole thing? I think it might be. I heard that Texas, for example, they're throwing away the masks.
I know 11 states are throwing away the mask.
11 states.
Mississippi too.
Mississippi. What are the other?
I can't
9?
think. I didn't hear what the other ones were, but they said there's others.
Well,
that-
there are actually
maybe the other
11?
ones are thinking about it. Those two have already done it.
Yeah, Texas. I just heard a couple of days ago or yesterday that done.
I can't believe they're throwing away the mask because my thing is, this is they're having a problem. They've had, some of the places don't have water down there.
Yeah.
They've had all kinds of plumber problems.
Pretty tough, yeah. So,
There's people from Massachusetts that's going down there to help them. That was just on the news tonight.
huh.
And the plumbing supply place is sending stuff down. He even used $5,000 of his own money.
Who? The governor?
No, this is a plumber.
Oh, okay.
He helped them before when they were.
So you have family
They
or
had a
something
problem.
like
I don't. He might have family down there.
Oh.
I don't know.
that? Well, I'm wondering if it's because some people are just getting kind of tired of it, and so you got a situation where you have the state on this problem with the frozen engine turbines and so forth, and the energy problem, and they probably thought, well, maybe we don't want to burden these people anymore. They're already tired of this whole.
Well, remember, Texas has their own power company,
Yeah.
and that was one of the problems.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because they lost power, and they didn't have any power at all.
Oh.
And evidently, they didn't have any solution for getting their power back.
So it's kind of crazy then that they're Mississippi too. Then why is Mississippi?
Yeah, I see. Mississippi, I don't understand because I've never been there.
Huh. But Texas, you were in Texas, yeah.
I used to live in
Yeah.
Texas.
Huh. I don't know. I'm all skeptical a little bit about some of the rules are kind of weird because you go to a restaurant. If you go to a restaurant, for example, you wear your mask,
Yep.
right, because of the virus. But you walk and you sit down on your table and you can take off your mask.
Because you're more than 6 feet away from the other people.
Well, and so are you when you come in. You're not always close to people. But here's another thing. This one was a weirder one. When I was in New York, they said, you can't sit at the bar, right? Unless you get something to eat. What kind of rule is that? What does that got to do with
I
the
have
virus?
no idea.
I know.
Oh, because they don't want them to drink
they
a
don't-
lot.
I don't know, but it was about the virus.
Yeah.
It was related to the virus, and I could not figure out. This doesn't make sense. If I sit at the bar and there's a virus, and I'm in close proximity to other people, why is the difference if I drink or eat? Why is that? Why is that the important part? Yes,
Money.
that's what I mean.
Money.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It didn't make sense. So I hear rules like that, and I wonder. I get tired of it. This is nonsense now. Who's coming up with these rules? You know. So that's why I'm wondering if the people in Texas and Mississippi and probably other states are saying, we don't even know what's going on. This is a totally mysterious virus. We don't even know what the heck is going on. We know that older people are susceptible, and we know that people that have existing conditions like bad things like diabetes or something like that, or some kind of disease, or all those things. But the rest of the people, like they keep saying the kids don't get affected that much, And you wonder. I know we want to talk about politics, but we'll keep it away from politics. But
No, but they're
why?
gonna- yeah.
Why don't they let the kids back in school? If
They're
the
going
kids-
to.
I know, but they already kept them for a year.
I
That's
know.
terrible for the
I
kids.
know. They were worried about what would happen.
Right, because that's what I'm saying. Nobody knows all the people, and then yet they make these rules that make no sense, that are hurting people.
Well, they're making rules that they think will help, but
Yeah.
they don't know if it's going to help until they
They
try
don't.
it.
They don't. And I know some of them are silly, like that New York bar rule. That was like silly.
Yes,
It's
that
like,
was a silly rule.
Yeah.
But the mask, I think, was a good rule.
the mask makes sense.
Yes.
Yes, of course. But then they keep changing. Where you wear 3 masks, where you wear 4 masks, where you wear 2 masks, wear one. Just,
Now, I know people who wear two.
and there are people. I see people running, jogging out there, jogging, with nobody around them, with a mask.
Well, when my wife walks, she
Yeah.
takes a mask with her.
Right.
When there's nobody there, she takes it off.
Right.
When she's walking, she puts it
Yeah,
back
if she
on.
comes close to somebody,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So that's what to that point, it seems to have a logical reason behind it. But when they start throwing them, they used to have laws like if you go to the beach, and I think it was in Michigan, they said you can only go up to your knees in the water. Seriously,
Really?
they had they had they had really outrageous rules like that. It made no sense, and you wonder were they doing it because they is it a power thing or something, or is it what is it? Why do they make these nonsensical
I have
rules?
no idea that
And
was.
it confuses more people. It confused me. So that if you have water up to here, the virus doesn't hit you, but if it's up to here, it does.
My thing is, I wouldn't want to walk in water anyway,
You
at
wouldn't.
all.
You wouldn't want to go in water.
No,
Why?
not walk in water.
You might. It might be a good thing. But anyway,
Yeah, that might happen
I got-
someday, but I hope not.
we went into a rabbit hole. It's just that was the thought. What I thought was probably going on. Even though they're going through this freeze and all these things, they might be thinking also people are just tired of this. So let's take one more burden away. Even though in many instances it does make sense. Yeah, wear a mask. But in the cases for like children, or even teenagers and
Well,
younger
can you
people.
get a kid to keep a mask on?
Yeah, get a
It's-
kid.
I think
get
it's
a,
very difficult
yeah.
to do that.
So and it's a good thing that they don't get affected that much. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. So
But
I'm sure
kids
a lot
don't
of people.
seem to get this virus.
So what?
Kids don't seem to get this virus as
They don't.
easily as adults.
They're not as affected as. That's why it's a horrible thing that they keep the kids from schools, because they don't even get affected, and they still. My daughter has to talk through the Zoom thing when she goes to school.
Okay.
It's like this. No, this kids can't. You were talking about the hugging part.
Yes.
You have to have children come together. You have to have them. It hurts them to keep them.
I think it's very tough because
Yeah.
there's people I would hug if we didn't have a pandemic,
Yeah.
but you can't hug them if you got a pandemic.
Yeah.
Because you're too close. Even if you got a mask on,
Yeah.
you know, you don't know how you can transmit.
So when do you think this might end? How long do you think? How much longer do you think this will be going?
It could go until 2022.
2022.
It could possibly go that long. I've never seen anything like this ever, and I'm 76 years old. So I hope it doesn't go much longer, to be honest with you. And I hope by the time my wife and I have our 50th anniversary, we can enjoy ourselves down to Newport. We're going to go down for a weekend,
That's when in May.
May.
Okay. You talk about 2022, then you want me.
No, I know. I mean, I'm hoping it's before then.
You can still go. You just wear.
Oh,
your
we're going to
mask,
go.
You know.
We're going to go. I mean, but just take our mask with us.
Yeah. No, I mean.
Wear a blanket over
The
us.
mask probably should. The masks are fine. It's just like there's a lot. I think there's a lot more fear than anything else.
The other thing is, during this pandemic, a lot of things are closed.
Yeah.
My wife and I went to Salmon Pond Mall the other day.
Yeah.
My God, the number of stores
I
that
know.
aren't there anymore.
I know. That's the problem. That's what's going. That's what is destroying everything.
Because my wife was going to walk with her sister over there. They walked over there once. Says, "Wow, there's a number of stores that are closed." And,
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad.
and a lot
So-
of the restaurants aren't even open. So what do you do?
I don't know, but it's there must be a better way.
Well, there's been a lot of other serious illnesses like Ebola and that. I mean, in other countries, we haven't seen it over here.
Yeah.
Now we have it.
Mm.
That's not good. And we got a lot of people that aren't getting along
Yeah, that's the
in
problem.
Congress or whatever. I mean, we
Oh,
said no
that's-
politics.
Yeah,
but
that's a whole nother story.
that's a
but
whole nother story. Is
That's
right.
too bad too. Times are in that respect. But
You
I
have
go
to work
back to-
together.
Huh?
You have to work together.
I bring it back to what you were saying. I think that be nice. There's a lot more good people out there than there are people that are not good. That's what I think.
That is
Yeah.
true.
And so I
But-
think that's
There seems
That's-
to be people that are violent, though. That's part of a problem. I'm not a violent person.
yeah. But you don't see. You only see these people on TV though.
Thank
Like-
God.
When you go to downtown in Northbridge and you walk around, you don't see these people. These are all like
No,
things that make the news because they're the exception. They're not. The
we're
rule.
lucky. where we are.
Yeah.
You know, Whitensville's a nice town. Northbridge is a nice town.
Yeah.
You know, but you go other places and you get attacked or whatever. Who the heck knows? I mean, people pick a fight with you without even thinking of anything.
Yeah.
Or they pull a gun on you because they want to rob you or whatever. You know, it just,
I think it's the news. The news focuses on those things. I
Yeah.
think those are, and the reason why they make the news is because they're the exception, not the rule.
yeah. And
The
there's people,
rule.
yeah, and there's people that get hurt
Yeah.
that aren't even involved in anything. A bullet strays into the house
Yeah.
and hits somebody, or people driving a car and go into a house, and that's happened recently.
Yeah.
Guy was reading a book at home, and the car came through a fence, took out his porch, and that was the room that he was in.
Did he finish the book?
Yeah, I think so. Not that night though. No, but it's scary.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be scared, Gary, because that's like, that's what I'm trying to say is the news is a very small world. What's happening in the news is not, if you go out there, that's why you don't experience that, because the world around you, there's less of that than there's more. There's more good things happening than bad things. The news focuses on the bad things. That's what makes people watch the news, because you don't sit to turn the news on if they're going to say weather's going to be nice today, people are going to be nice. Hey, look, we have this little kid that just patted this nice dog over here. Isn't that nice? Look at these people helping each other. Those are like small fractions of a whole hour of news. Oh, today for the good story. You know what I mean? Because the news focuses on bad stories.
Yeah.
But I think that the world of the news is very small. You go out every day. I go out every day when I go out, or I go out of work, or I go visit my daughter in Worcester, or I go to, and I never see what I see in the news. If I see it, it's very rare. I don't remember the last time when I saw somebody getting hurt by somebody else publicly. Unless I turn the channel on, I see it. Oh yeah, there it is.
What's been happening where we live right now,
Yeah,
there's a boom and it shakes the house.
yeah.
We don't know where it's coming from.
Really?
I'm serious.
Every
And
day?
it isn't just our place, it's the whole 4 units.
Every day? I mean,
Not every
often
day,
and
but
on?
every week.
Really?
Yeah. And we don't know where it's coming from.
The same.
We thought it
boom?
was the new construction, where the solar panels are and everything,
Yeah.
up on, off of Church
Do you
Street.
think that could be it?
It could be, but I would think they're all done with that because they're not doing anything. I mean, they were using dynamite at one time because they put a notice up there or whatever.
Yeah.
But now they're not doing that. So I mean,
It
what
hasn't
is
stopped
going
every
on?
week. You heard once
Yeah.
at least.
We heard it today.
Huh. And that's scary.
Not as bad as what we heard in the past. I mean, usually it shakes the building,
This is in Northbridge or Sutton.
Whitensville.
This is in Waynesville.
Yeah,
Huh.
I don't know what that could be because I don't know where it's coming from.
Hmm.
I thought somebody's working on, construction or whatever, and I haven't seen it.
Hmm.
My wife heard it today. I said, no, that must be a door. No, she says, that is that boom that we've been hearing.
That's weird.
It wasn't as bad today, though,
No.
because usually it shakes the house.
There's nothing in the news about it or anything like that? No?
Never. So I don't know what that is.
Maybe we can talk about it at the show. There's another show after this. The people that look at town issues and whatever. See if that has anything to do with it. After this show, there will be so.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll ask him and find out what's going on.
Okay. How late do you stay?
But I don't think that it'll be like. I don't think that it's terrorists or anything like that.
No, I don't think it's anything like
or anything
that.
to be afraid of for now.
No,
Yeah. So that's what I mean. That's what
not
I'm
unless
talking
the roof falls.
But that's what I'm talking about. Those things are like, they're the exception. I think you know that. I think that. So
Yes.
The news is a lot of bad
Like I
stuff.
said, we're lucky where we
Yeah.
are. I mean,
But mostly,
this area is very, very nice, and
yeah.
you know,
But if you go to Boston and you walk around, or you go to almost any place, it's gonna be the rare thing that's going to be is the tragic things. You're gonna see mostly people just living their lives, trying to relax, trying
Well,
to
look at
be.
the trees that were down,
Huh?
blocking roads and everything the other day.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to
You like the
Upton.
bad news, huh? I saw a tree on the way to work that fell down because of the wind. Yeah.
Oh, there was more than one. Luckily, some were on people's property. Well, that's not lucky for them.
Did anybody get hurt?
Not that I know of.
No.
Not that I know of.
So what's something positive then that we can say that you would say to the world right now? If people would be watching
Something
you
positive.
and they would say, what would you like to say as your parting piece of advice?
Boy, I'll tell you, it's a tough one. But I'll tell you, I think I always try to be positive. I really do, and so does my family. It's just a tough time because of the pandemic. I mean, if this wasn't going on, I think things would be much easier. Much better. I mean, I feel bad for the people that have either lost their jobs or closed their businesses because of what's going on. It affects the economy. And there's a lot of people out of work. You know,
It's
I
hard
mean-
being positive for you in a time like this?
something that's positive for me is my family. You know, I mean, we have friends. I mean, I sent my brother off a couple of emails today that my friend that goes to the breakfast with me sent to me, and I sent them off to them. And I thought it was good notes to send along, and it was called Ben and Jesus.
Who's this?
Ben and Jesus.
Yeah.
It was a joke, but I mean, you have to. I can't remember. No, it was a guy that came in to pray at church every day,
Yeah.
and he looked like he was a homeless person,
Right.
but he wasn't.
Right.
And he would come over to church when he was on his break for lunch. He would come to the church and pray to God,
Right.
and he would go back afterwards, go to work, and then all of a sudden he wasn't coming anymore. And finally the priest figured out that he might have been in the hospital. So she went to the hospital, talked to the people there. He was doing the same thing. Ben was in the hospital,
Yeah.
but he made everybody feel like what you want to do is you want to pray and make things better. So
I thought there was going to be a joke in there somewhere.
actually, it was really good. You had to read it.
Oh, this is a real story.
This is a real story.
Oh, okay.
And so he thought of other people. He didn't think about himself,
Yeah.
you know. And he was going to a better time as he was helping other people, you know. So it was interesting.
So that's
I thought-
something good to focus on and to try to not to think
Yeah.
just of yourself and try to
Well, my
wherever
brother,
you can.
not my brother, my wife even read it before I read it because she knew that Jimmy had sent me some emails. So I read them afterwards. I said, wow, that's really good. So I sent it off to my brother. I says, you know, he could use that. You know, tell somebody something else that will make them feel better. You know, matter of fact, one of the things I always did in life and when I worked was I always tell somebody something nice. You know, as far as you look really good today.
Oh, that's good.
You know, like you do. You look good today.
You saying that to me?
Yes.
Oh, that makes me feel good.
You know,
Yeah, say something
make
positive.
people feel better.
Well, that's a good note to end on then. And time has run out, Gary.
Okay.
I just took an hour away from your life. Thank you for letting me have it.
It wasn't a problem.
And I hope you enjoy yourself, even though we got into a lot of discussion there about the news. A little heated, no?
No, I
And
thought
thanks
it
for
was-
joining me, Gary.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. And thanks all of you for being with us tonight. And we'll see you next week when the next person comes and shares their story.